Treading down your own path can feel really scary and full of mood swings. You're insecure 1 second, then you're confident, then you feel like you're doing the right thing, you feel like you're doing the wrong thing, and then you're excited, and then you're feeling like shit. It's a constant back and forth swing of emotions. So you seek advice, you go to social media, you ask friends and family, nothing. Crickets. You don't know what to do. But you took that one course a couple years ago, and you remember that that mentor that taught that course now has a one-on-one coaching offer. So you jump at it. Solve my life. Please take the reins. I'm done figuring it out. Please just tell me what to do with a little cookie cutter sheet and help me get out of this hellhole. Big mistake. In today's podcast, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience over the last year with business. We're going to cover different topics as, my first course, what I learned throughout the journey of creating that course, and also my journey of hiring my first one-on-one coach / mentor. Before we dive in, imagine that you're standing in the middle of a forest. You've got your backpack with you. You've got that one water bottle that mom got you for Christmas. You have your bare essential necessities. So you're okay, but you are in survival mode. Then out of nowhere, you hear this one voice. It's like, come this way. You run towards the voice. You're so full of adrenaline. You're excited. Then you start to feel a little discouraged because you no longer hear the voice. You hear the sound of water nearby. You're like, oh shit, there's some water over here. Thank God. Although you feel defeated, you do feel like, at least I have this water. Before you kneel down to the river to fill up your water bottle, you look in the reflection and you think to yourself, like, what am I doing here? Why am I in the middle of this forest? Why am I not just doing the safe route? Why am I by myself? And you're kind of just feeling lost and confused. Right after you finish filling up your water bottle, you're about to put the cap on, and you hear this voice again. Come! And you're like, holy fuck. I thought I was fucked, but I'm not. So let me run towards this voice. Faster this time, or at least you think. And you're headed towards this direction with so much confidence, like, oh my God, finally, I found the person to help me. Then you realize you're right back where you started. You recognize that one tree that had that one mark on it, and you see the footprint. It's your shoe, and you know for a fact. This is exactly how my journey has felt as an entrepreneur. I have felt like the man in the middle of the forest, feeling like, somebody just please help me. Please help me. I think it comes from a lack of, or in the past, I think it came from a lack of self-confidence. For sure. Wanting somebody to hand me the route for me. Please give me the map. When should I turn left and when should I turn right? When I first thought of the idea for the organic video formula, which is my course that I just released on YouTube for free. When I first thought of it, I thought to myself, yes, I should definitely do that. I've been in photography and filmmaking for years. I first started with photography back in 2014. I feel very convicted in my ability to take photos, and the same thing with video. I started dabbling my feet into filmmaking in 2016, 17, around that time, when I was working with a personal development company. When I first got hired to this company, they only wanted me for photography, but I eventually had to learn the ropes of video so that I could take over for the weekly video content. And that was the first steps that I took towards actually honing in on my videography skills, filmmaking skills, cinematography skills. Went on to make short films, we shot events, we did the weekly content, we did podcasts. So I felt with all this experience, not only that, but freelancing too, of course, doing weddings, doing small business gigs. I just felt convicted in my ability to talk about it. Teach what you know, is what they say. Teach what you know. What is something that you struggled with in your past? How did you overcome it? Teach the solution. So I thought that to myself, yeah, I should do that because I taught myself the solution. I completely understand how to use a camera. And so I went about creating the organic video formula. The whole purpose of it was to not just teach you the video skills, that was only like one element, but to teach you how to show up on camera so that you can grow your personal brand through video, because I believe video is the best medium. And don't get me wrong, I'm really passionate about video. I love it. I think that everybody should at least try to learn it because it can do amazing things for you. It can help you make an impact. It can help you get your message out there. It can help you gain confidence, learning how to talk to a camera. It can help you become a leader by sharing your message. It can help you become more articulate. I have noticed that that is something that I still kind of struggle with, but I've gotten a lot better because I have constantly decided to press record. And don't even get me started on the whole leverage side of things. You create one video, it can, be shown to 1 million, and all you have to do is create the video once. So I just believe in the power of video. But am I passionate about helping others through video? No, I am not. And I had to go through the process of creating a full course to figure that out. Funny story, side note. While I was creating the course, there was one moment where I was about to do literally a whole filmmaking course inside of the course. Thank God I didn't. Thank God I had the awareness to stop that. Went about like this whole course outline, the whole module outline for filmmaking, from lighting to all this stuff, literally everything for cinematography. Lighting, 3-point lighting, how to use your camera settings, knowing the difference between aperture and shutter speed. And then I was like, this isn't relevant. This isn't relevant to somebody who's just wanting to start a personal brand. They didn't sign up for a filmmaking course. What I realized is that I'm not passionate about teaching others through video. I realized that through the course and through my content, mostly through my content, because for a long time, I have kind of struggled getting views on YouTube. And towards the beginning of the year, I posted this one video that was about content strategy and this one that was about personal branding. See where this is going? Those 2 videos did really well. The best, at least for me, the best that I had experienced in a long time. So I was like, oh shit, we're getting traction. Let's keep repeating what is working, right? That's what they tell you to do. Double down on what's working. So I did, creating more content, trying to inspire people to start YouTube, to start their personal brand, to just start getting their message out there. What ended up happening once I had the course launch was complete crickets. Nobody cared about it. I realized that this has nothing to do with the long-term vision of my business. In 10 years from now, I do not see myself talking about content. Sure, here and there I'll talk about it, but do I want to create a whole business around it? No, I don't. Not at all. And that was a lesson that I learned. Don't create something that you are not passionate about. It has to start with you. If there's not a burning fire for whatever it is that you're waking up and choosing to create, you're going to burn out. That's just how it is. I was listening to a podcast recently, and this guy owns a franchise of gyms. Had he not been passionate about his health and wellness and the gyms, the moment the pandemic closed down 200 of his locations, he would have quit. But he didn't, because he's passionate about it. I didn't feel passionate about it. So therefore, why even charge for it? Why even promoting it more? Waste more time creating content that I'm not passionate about if it's not aligning. Although I made a mistake, I still got my answer. I figured out that that is not what I want to do. And when we figure out what we don't want to do, that can also be very useful to our journey. When we realize the things that we don't want to do, we can almost have like anti-role models. Somebody has a parent that raised their child in a way that was toxic. That child can learn what is toxic about that and do the opposite. So everything is pointing us in our direction. That's why I believe that life is always happening for you, not to you. And that you're always on the right path. No matter what it is, even if you fuck up, you're still on the right path. You just got to lean into it, learn from the mistakes, and realize what you don't want to do again. Now, looking back, something I definitely could have done is validate my course idea. I knew about this, but I'm stubborn as fuck. I'm stubborn as fuck because I'm like, I know that this is going to help somebody and I'm going to do it just because of that. But why do that? If nobody's asking for it, nobody's like, dude, please teach me how to do video. Hopefully OVF is serving somebody out there, but I could have definitely validated the course idea. So if you're thinking about launching a course, doing anything in general, just creating content, first of all, start with what you're passionate about and constantly ask yourself, does this align with a long-term vision? And if it does, even if it does, validate the course idea with your audience first. make sure that people actually desire this thing, and take your market research seriously. See what's out there, see what's already working, get your feedback from the market, because the market is who's going to pay for your product. If they don't want the product, what's the point of making it? You'll save a lot of time this way. Like I said, I spent 8 to 10 weeks with the lighting, with the modules, just being a perfectionist. I could have saved a lot of time, but looking back, I'm glad I did it because I got my answer. Another thing that I would have done to validate that course idea is to hone in on my one-on-one services. So what do I mean by that? Go out there and find specific people with the pain points that you're trying to solve. Work with them first and do it multiple times. 1, validate your idea, whether or not it's actually useful. 2, validate your process, figure out what works and what doesn't, so that when it comes time to create the course, you can only include the stuff that does work and highlight the things that won't. And so that you could gather proof. People love proof. That's why you look at the reviews. You want to see what people's experiences are. Another thing that I would have focused more on is painting out the dream outcome. People don't care about your workout routine that's going to help them gain muscle. They care about how they're going to look to their partner or to their friends or their family, or they care about how it's going to help them gain more energy throughout the day, not necessarily about the process. So avoid selling the process and instead focus on selling the outcomes. If you can think about your journey as stacking as many failures on top of each other, I guarantee you that it's going to push you way forward than if you just stayed back and you tried to plan out the perfect little route. If we go back to the example of me standing in the forest, if I heard that first voice and I was like, there's probably a stick that I'm going to fall over. There's probably a big log that I'm not going to see. There's probably some little gremlin that's going to grab my foot as I run by it. I would have never taken action. So don't feel like you have to plan it all out perfectly before you take action. Just run towards a voice, learn from the lesson, figure out what you could have done differently, and then when you run to the next voice, try to apply those lessons moving forward. The final lesson that I learned is don't hire a business coach until you are fully convicted in your offer. Before I launched OVF, clearly I was the man in the middle of the forest. I was very clueless. And what I did was I just felt like if I hired a business coach, a one-on-one coach, all of my problems will be solved. Every single last bit of them. If I just sign up for that program, I'll be good to go. And while I do think that this is helpful in a lot of cases, in my specific case, it was not. Because I was not convicted in my offer. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. That's why I created OVF. I didn't even know what the long-term vision was. I had no fucking clue. And I'm not saying that this coach didn't help me at all. He helped me a ton, a lot. He helped me get my mind right. But I could have made a lot more progress had I figured out exactly what my end goal looked like, or at least what I wanted it to look like, what direction I wanted to go in. Because I went about this 90-day program just asking questions left and right that weren't relevant. So many times he's like, so what do you want to do, Ashton? What do you want to do? Okay, let's do that. And it's this back and forth running through the forest, but we need to lean inward. The most inward self-reflection that I really had was just the self-sabotage, and that's just not useful. Had I been kneeling down at the water, looking at my reflection and asking myself the hard questions of what do I want out of this journey? Instead of sabotaging myself, sabotaging all of the, using those self-doubts, clouding my mind with this negative voice, I could have instead reframed it. What is the next step I could take? And why do I want to go in that direction? How will that fill my cup up? How will that fulfill my purpose? How will that make me happy? These tough questions are tough for a reason, because they're not supposed to be easy. It is a process. But had I figured out at least what direction, not north, but south, I could have made a lot more progress. If you're not ready for a business coach because you have no clue what your offer is, take this time to self-reflect. Use all the free resources out there. There's YouTube. And also another thing you can do is find communities of like-minded individuals. Find people who are in similar boats as you. And while I'm on that topic, if there's anybody who's hindering your growth, Get rid of them. Stop wasting your life away, because life is too damn short to surround yourself with people who are not going to support you. To wrap these up, don't create a course that you're not passionate about. Don't create content that you're not passionate about. Make sure that you validate your offer with the market through one-on-one services so that you can build credibility and validate the process. Don't create a course that nobody is asking for, and don't waste your time spending all this time creating all these modules when nobody asked for it. And last but not least, don't hire a business coach until you're ready. Now, if you are looking for a business coach, be transparent about your feelings of feeling lost, because the last thing you need to do is spend thousands and thousands of dollars, then find yourself straight back where you started. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. This was a fun one, and it feels great to be back. It feels so good to be back. The break was much needed. If you haven't watched the last video, go watch that. I explain more about why I took a break. Thank you so much for just being here, for being along my journey as I'm like running back and forth throughout this forest. But I am feeling a lot more confident about the trajectory moving forward. More details on that later. Leave a comment below. What was your favorite takeaway from this video? All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and I will see you in the next episode.